So if you scroll in column under the section 1 assessment and under lab exercise, you'll be able to see this, which is lab exercise 4. Please download this question and you have to submit it as usual, which is up to midnight today. So once you have downloaded the question, you'll be able to see this. So earlier today on the lecture, we have already looked into functions, or known as modular programming. Yeah, so many terms, but no worries, it's the same. So for today's exercise, we will be implementing functions. How do we do that? So let's take a look. So for this exercise, this is the task, which is your store Sunambrad is an advertisement company that offers customer a storage box in their shop to promote or display as well as to sell customers' product. So it's like a hub where you can rent it out, all right? So in order to help the customers book the storage box and to give related information, online registration will be developed. And as a system developer, you are assigned to develop this system. So you are required to design and develop this system. And what does this system should do? This system should provide information about the type of storage box, which are, we have the first one, small box with this size, and it can display maximum of 5 items, and the fee is RM5 per week. Second, it's a regular box and maximum of 8 items, and the fee is 15 ringgit per week. And lastly, it's a large box which you can display a maximum of 12 items, and the fee is 25 ringgit per week. So these are the informations that were given to us, all right? So here's a sample of the output. So the output of the system could be as in figure 1. So since it could be, it can be different. So let's follow this figure 1, the example. So you have the display of your store information, and then you have a display of your storage size, which means the information that was given earlier in here, all of this is converted over here. Okay, so here's the info. So once you have given the info, which is the number of items, maximum items, and the price, you need to get an input from the user, which you say, please choose your storage. So this is your first scanf input from user, which the user can either pick 1, 2, or 3. All right, so now you see, yes, your printf, yes, your scanf. Okay, so based on this input, you have to display this. You have selected small box because the user have key in 1. Users key in 1. So it's a small box. So you tell the info. So what does this mean? Remember on your control statement, if else, so you have to use that to determine based on the user selection 1, 2, or 3. But if you don't want to use if else, which means if, else, if, and else, then you can use switch case. So you put switch and then you put a case. Case 1 for small box, case 2 for regular box, case 3 for large box. And in that case, you do this printf. So this would be easier. Okay, so you printf straight in your case. Okay. And then how many items to display? Because as you can see, this information here is already given. So you can use this information to printf over here. And of course, it depends totally on the storage size, 1, 2, or 3. So you mentioned the items to display. And then, if you notice, this is your second scanf, which you need the user to key in. So we are letting them know it's up to 5 items. So they can put between 0, but usually it's 1 to 5 items. Okay, so you'll get the input here, second scanf. And then based on this, Okay. So based on that, this input will determine how many times do you loop since the user key in 2. So this is 1, this is 2. So you have to ask the item description name and the item price, because this system is to help to sell the customer's product, you see? Okay. So you get the item name, item price. And since the user key in 2, so you get the second item name and the second item price. So this printf info, here's one scanf, your first scanf, here's your second scanf. There is a condition here. So this thing is depends on your condition statement. Okay. And then this scanf, this number 2, whatever input, you are going to use this to determine how many times are you going to loop this. You can use for loop, you can use while loop, doesn't matter. But I would recommend for loop because you already know the size is 2. So you can put declaration integer I equals to 0, I less than 2, I plus plus. But of course inside, in order to get item 1, item 2, you have to put I plus 1 lah. But if you don't want to do that, integer I equals to 1, I less or equal to 2, I plus plus. Then you don't have to modify this. Okay. So then you will print F how many weeks to display. So you ask the user how many weeks to display. Why? Because remember over here, the fee, the rate of this fee is based on week. So now you get the third scanf, which is you ask the user how many weeks. And once the user have given this information, you will be able to perform the calculation. So then only you can do the calculations. So once you perform your calculation somewhere in between there, then you printf, you have entered 2 items. So this will be, you just have to output back based on this variable of input to be displayed in your storage. And then item, here's a display printf where you do a looping. So this will be definitely another loop just to printf, because you have to printf exactly the input of the user with their price. Okay, so this is basically just repeating a printf from your input from user. Okay, and then your fees for 2 weeks. So this information is also given based on where? Here. No. Weeks. This one. So this information is brought to here as well. Okay, 2 weeks. And this total. So this total of the fees will based on your calculations. So once you get your input of the weeks, you perform the calculations and then you save it to a variable of a total price. And at this line, you output or printf define the information. Okay, so this is an example of system output of this system. And right now, all of this that I just explained is done as normal code. What do I mean by normal code? Is that which will do everything in your main. Okay, which you're going to do all of it in here. So that will be your normal programming. But then our exercise for today is you have to use modular programming or functions to solve this exercise. Let's make this calculation as a function. So I want you guys to create or do that code. The idea is very simple. Execute everything that you see in figure 1. Okay, solve it here first. Do it in your code blocks. Complete it everything. Make sure it's running, no errors. Then I want you to see the part involved with calculations. That means the part where the calculations are involved, which is based from items of display. And then, of course, it will take into account of the price, because we have three different price, right? 5 ringgit, 50 and 25. So that calculation has to be done, and there is a total for the fee. So the part for your calculations, I want you to extract that part and create one function here, okay? Which is, let's see, float calculations, okay? And then, all right. So put it here. This one, okay, I'm not going to give the answer over here. So I want you guys to figure out what do you need to send in order for you to do this calculation. It's a float type. So what does it mean? There will be a return. Okay, you have to return the total. So it might be the total fee. Okay, that is up to you. All right. So decide and do this. Okay. So I want you to convert those calculations involved here into here. So there will be something here that you need to send. I want you guys to figure this out, perform the calculation, return the total fee, and somewhere in your main, you're supposed to be able to display this. So it will be the same as you see in your screen for this, except the calculation part. This part is the one that you are going to implement your functions. Okay, so that's your task for today's lab. Convert or extract the calculation part from your main code and put it into a functions. Okay, so once you have done, submit this and I will take a look at your answers. So do the first step, try to solve this question without function first, make it complete, make sure you can be able to display this figure 1 completely as it is. Then I want you to convert and remove the codes, move it to modular programming into functions. All right, and our target is basically to do this calculations part as a functions. Okay, all right, so good luck and I'll see you guys on next week. If you have any question, yes, you can drop in the WhatsApp group in the chat. But do apologize because I have so many other things ongoing, so I might be responding a little slow. But just put in your questions and I will answer as soon as possible. Okay, so good luck and enjoy your day.